Well, today's video is gonna be a very emotional one, for me at least, not for you, because this video here is basically 2 years old. What does this mean exactly? I've already shot this complete video 2 years ago when I just started this channel. If you don't trust me, you can watch my Instagram feed, go to the very first photo I've ever posted there, and you will see that I shot all the things you will see today 2 years ago. And I've never finished this complete video because I wasn't sure how I performed, and I wasn't happy with the result. After all, my English was just pretty bad and I was really afraid of a camera. So today is my second attempt on this, and I would do it just in a very, very special way. I will just now talk to you here in the A roll and just tell you everything about the products and everything that has changed in these 2 years. And every time you will see a product here in this video, and the B-roll shots, they are just 2 years old. And I will just use them because out of no reason at all, because I think I've put a lot of effort back then into it and they're not that very good, but I will just keep it here and just mix this up. So today's Michael Miller with 2 years old Michael Miller, just switching roles sometimes in this video, and I think we should just get started right after the intro. Here we go, and welcome to the Idea of Technology. My name is Michael, and today I just try to guide you through the space of mobile speakerphones or mobile conference speakers, because this can be just sometimes really confusing. And on the other side, we are just probably just working from home, and it's just a good opportunity to invest in really good speaker and microphone setup for your working from home setup. So I think I will just guide you through the 3 speakerphones I just have today for you. These are probably from the 3 major brands out there: Sennheiser, Jabra and Plantronics. Just Poly at the moment, so they were just bought from Poly. But after all, these are the 3 big ones, and there are also some other ones I just want to mention here in the beginning that I've not tested. Logitech also have just a really good speakerphone as well nowadays, and also Anker, I think so. So basically these are the 5 ones you should just keep an eye on, but now we're just focusing on the Jabra Speak 710, as well as the Plantronics Calisto 610 and the Sennheiser SP20, I think. So these are the 3 ones. I know there are just some newer versions of these iterations, but they are in the main topics basically the same. I will also just mention the differences, but we just keep it that way. Also just to mention, I only have here the Jabra and the Plantronics one, because the Sennheiser one I borrowed from a friend of mine back then in the day, so it's 2 years ago. But I just want to leave it that way, so let's just get started. And another disclaimer here at the beginning: I just bought all of these products with my own money, and also some things have changed in the past 2 years. So basically, when we're talking about buying a speakerphone back then, you just were looking for a Skype for Business certification, but nowadays it's all just Team certification. So some of these have newer models that are just Team certified, or just certified for every other conference app or service you can get out there. So basically, you can run all these speakerphones with modern conference services and you have no problem at all. And first, let's just get started with the one I don't have here on my table, but I'm just living really close to it because it's Sennheiser. It's a German brand, so Sennheiser comes from Hanover. It's not that far away, and they just make really good audio products for everything you just can think of, from the really low-end, low-budget products up to the really, really high-end audiophile, up to a couple of $1,000s. There's probably just no limit when it comes to Sennheiser products. So I'm just really excited to talk about the Sennheiser SP20, and there's also the SP30 and the SP30 Plus. And the main differences with the 30 and the 30 Plus is mainly focused on Bluetooth and NFC connections. So you have just the capability of just running it wirelessly, in comparison to the other 2 products today, the Jabra and the Plantronics ones. They all come just with a dongle, and they can always just run with a dongle or just via Bluetooth. The Sennheiser version only just supported when we're looking at the model SP30, not the SP20. There are also just slightly differences. Nowadays, you can also get some of the models as the SP SP30 or SP30 Plus from Sennheiser with a USB Type-C dongle. If you're into something like this is probably just the more modern standard. I will always just opted for a USB Type-C, but I also know that when we look at the business or enterprise space of computers, notebooks, PCs, we're basically just sticking with USB Type-A for a really long time. A lot of dongles, connectors, tokens are just using USB Type-A, and you don't have so many USB Type-C ports, so basically you can just choose whatever fits your needs. But sometimes USB Type-A is just easier, bigger, and not so fragile, but you can just keep it the way you want to. On these two models, the Jabra Speak 710 and the Calisto 610 from Plantronics, they both use a dongle with USB Type-A, but I just also need to keep mentioning that the dongle from the Jabra 710 is just really annoying. It's just super flat head at the end, you can just grip to, and it's so hard to get it out of the device when it's just push on the back of it to store it, and you have a really struggle to get it out there and to use it on your computer. So just keep this in mind. Plantronics always use their standard dongle, and I've also made a video about the Plantronics headset, the Voyager 8200, I think. So you can just click the link up here if you want to. It's a really awesome headphone with active noise cancelling, but also their speakerphones are just fairly good. The things that the Sennheiser just does really well is, on the one side, just supporting auxiliary ports, so you can also just use your headphone jack if you just still have a device that powers this. You can just plug it to your mobile phone or just to your computer via headphone jacks. So this is just really awesome, and a feature the other two don't have here in this lineup, as well as the mentioned wired connection via USB Type-A. What also stands out to me is the fact that it's just brushed aluminum. On the top, it's just a really premium feel. On the other side, it's also fairly light. It doesn't feel that heavy, like a heavy brick in your hand. And you just have the ability to charge the whole device with just your USB Type-A connection. And you just need to, if you're just relying on the auxiliary port. If you're just relying on the USB Type-A port all the time, you have no struggle using the battery, because everything just runs through this cable. And that's just also pretty neat on the Sennheiser. You can just wire up all these two wires just pretty firmly and just put it into your case, so you just don't have the problem of loose cables or something like this. But you cannot change them. So basically, if your cable is broken, you have a really bad time or just need to swap out the complete device. And next to this premium feel, you just get roughly around about 20 hours of runtime, which is just way more than enough. I would argue that should be just a normal week of runtime when we're just focusing on conference calls. Maybe your time will vary now when we're just working from home, but basically this is just really good. And on the other side, it's just certified for up to 6 people. So I just really like to use the Sennheiser in a just mid-sized room, I would say so. So basically the Plantronics Calisto 610 here is just for, I would say, one-on-one, so just 2 people in one room sitting on one table together, and the Sennheiser just does it way better in just picking up the different voices in the different corners of the room. So this is just certified for up to 6 people and has a really good pickup pattern. Can confident that you have a premium audio product from a really big audio brand, and they have delivered pretty firmly and really good microphones. And even though the newer models like the SP30 or SP30 Plus are also just utilizing the same drivers and the same arrangement of the microphones and the same speaker drivers, so you just can really rely on this, and doesn't change anything at all on this. The other thing that is also just really important, probably, how clear is the audio on your side when it comes to talking to your colleagues or just to your friends. And the Sennheiser delivers not the loudest speaker of all of them, but they have just really clear audio. I would not say that it have just a huge amount of bass or just gets really loud, but the mids and the highs that are most important when it comes to voice are just super clear. And this probably also just relies on the fact that we only have wired connection on this model at least, but I guess the Bluetooth connection, and when just done good, is also just reliable enough to have a clear and just really crisp audio. And it's just pretty cool. Just with the auxiliary port, you can easily hook it up to some other just audio plays and just play some music, and it sounds just really okay. It's not, as I mentioned, the loudest or the bassiest ones, but Sennheiser just delivers what is promised. And what also just stands out for me when we're talking about the Sennheiser model is that you have just really physical dedicated buttons. They have just a really firm and stiff feel. When you press them, you know when you've pressed them. And this is also just really important when we talk about the other two products here in front of me. They delivered on the haptics really well when it comes to menu and design layout. So this is just a no-brainer, and it feels just really premium. Now talking about the Plantronics one, I have here in front of me the Calisto 610, and you also get the newer model is the Calisto 7200. I don't know the naming scheme, why it's so complicated, but this little guy here with a ton of microphones around it, and all just completely in black and really simple design, but I like it. And I also took a deeper look into the newer model, and they changed just quite a lot when it comes to the design language, way more than Jabra or Sennheiser. But I must be honest, the Plantronics model, the older model, I feel the 610 is just way more appealing for me, but maybe opportunities and taste just differs here, but I think this is just the main more interesting thing. So the Plantronics one is just the smallest one out of the complete setup I have here, and it just powers via micro USB. Back then that was just totally fine. It was even certified for Link back then, so just a really long time ago, but it's also just totally fine with all the other conference tools you can get out there. And what just really stood out to me, I've probably used this like 3 or 4 years. The battery survived fairly well. You have a battery indicator on the top. You probably always use this just without a cable, so you'd probably just charge it overnight and just throw it in your bag or just leave it on your desk, whatever you want to do. You can just pair with your Bluetooth really good, but the distance is not the best point of this whole product, so you can just even get some problems after a couple of meters when there are too many people or too many other devices in front of it. So there you can just probably have a bad time, and then you will want to rely on the dongle here on the back, because I think all the Plantronics products work just way better when we're using the dongle with a wireless connection and not just relying on the Bluetooth that is built in. And what just nearly everyone said when I've just used the speakerphone here is that the microphones are just they okay. They are absolutely not the best one out there. Nothing compared to the Sennheiser, so they are not the best ones, definitely not. And the speaker in here and the driver is good enough to get fairly loud. They have just way crunchy and high highs, and the mids are also okay. There's absolutely no bass, and you really don't want to try to play music from this one here. This is just a no-go, absolutely. This will just sound horrible. It's the worst speaker when it comes to playing music. This is probably not the use case for a speakerphone or a conference speaker after all, but I like to just travel light and just don't need to have two different devices like a Bose box together with my speakerphone to have both worlds. I just want to use my speakerphone in a hotel room, or when I'm sitting on my desk just working and not in a conference call. I just want to play some music in the background. So this is just probably something I just want to have dual purpose in the speakerphone after all. And the Plantronics doesn't support this setup and this idea I have with the speakerphone. Two more things about the Plantronics Calisto is I kind of like the buttons here. They just have a click at the end, so this is just pretty good. When it comes to mute, this is just really important feature, a big mute button. And the second thing I just also talked about in my Plantronics Voyager review with the ANC headphones is that the Plantronics app that comes with it, so the PLT Hub app, is just really outdated. If you take a look at the review, you will see it, because it doesn't support the screen-to-screen ratios of modern iPhones, and the settings and controls are pretty limited. So it doesn't feel like Plantronics putting so much effort into further developing the PLT Hub app, which is just really sad because they're selling these products still today, and they should just also support modern platforms for their apps. But I guess this is just my opinion. That brings us just perfect to the last of these three today. So after Sennheiser and Plantronics, we will just now talk about the Jabra one here on my right. And this is just my latest speakerphone I have here. I've now had this for 1.5 years, nearly 2 years, and I love this one. So this just replaced my Plantronics one, and I will really love to talk about this Speak 710, because this one just packs a lot of features I really love. I don't have so many Jabra products, and I also like Plantronics products after all, but this Jabra Speak just packs so many cool things, like this kickstand here, for example, that you can just pop it up here. Works just perfect with my Surface, so all the products just with a kickstand. Really cool design. So what does makes the Jabra Speak 710 or just the newer version 750 so special and just so important and reliable, and at the same time so expensive? This is just definitely not a cheap product after all. So first of all, it's definitely the design and the haptics. So it's just metal here on the top, and as you can hear, there's a pretty big and decent driver in here. So this is just definitely made for conference calls, really good audio quality, and at the same time also the ability to play music. And this just does it all. Really, you just need to try it. And I have just 3 comparisons here, so I will just switch over to the comparisons, and you can just hear for yourself how these 3 compare. Sounds pretty good, right? So the whole idea how you can just use it is nearly the same, or just a middle way between the Sennheiser and the Plantronics one. You have just this wired connection via USB Type A, which is just perfectly fine, and you can just also charge it that way. And on the other side, you also just have the dongle here on the back, and I also just talked about the dongle to get just look at it. I have a really bad time to get this dongle out of here. It's just so stiff in here. And the other big feature of it is just next to just powering up with wired or just wireless with the dongle, you can just also use just Bluetooth, which is just pretty cool. So you have all the 3 opportunities, but no auxiliary port or headphone jack. And you have just this kickstand here on the back, because I love it that way, that it's just focusing directly onto you. You just leave it flat on the table if you're just sitting with different other peoples out there, and everyone is hearing the same quality. But when you're just sitting next to each other, or just sitting for yourself and just want to listen to music, or just in a conference call, the noise is just coming directly at you. That's just way better in my opinion. Another one and just really important feature of this, and this is just probably the killer feature of it, you can just pair the Jabra Speak 710 with another speaker, and you just have 2 Jabra Speak 710. This will just probably get really expensive, but you have just 2 of them, and they can just run in just stereo mode. And now you have just 2 speakers in front of you and firing at you in stereo mode. When you're listening to conference call, it's probably not that interesting to listen to your colleague in stereo, but when you're just listening to music, this is just pretty cool. And the bass and the complete music setup of this device is just super awesome. The basses are super deep for a speakerphone, so yeah, you cannot really compare it to Bose, whatever, Mega Boom, something like this. I've tested a couple of different Bluetooth speakers. I have just too many Bluetooth speakers in my home, but it's not getting close to a Bose speaker after all. But it's just the very best when we're talking about speakerphones. So this just can get loud and just plays fairly well, and you will absolutely not miss anything. I also like the ring on the front, so this is just all soft touch. I like probably more the just hard buttons on the Sennheiser, because you're not accidentally just shutting down or muting or whatever you're doing with the soft touch in the front. But on the other side you have just this ring that indicates the volume you're just pushing and how high this whole device can get or how low you are. It just blinks when you're getting a phone call or your inner call. So this is just really cool for indicating what you're doing and how you're operating this whole thing. And on the other side, it's just made for pairing. You also have a dedicated button for assistance. So your Siri, Google Now, or whatever you want to do. This is just really unique, and I love the approach, and they just sticking to it. And that's just the whole magic behind the Jabra Speak 710. So I still like this really much, and I'm not using it that often after all when I'm working from home, so I'm basically using a headphone or headset. But maybe you just on your own have the ability to use it, and I would just go for it because it's just way better than using your computer headphone, and because it's just way better than using your computer audio and your computer microphone after all. This would just definitely improve your audio and just gives you a completely new level. So that's it. I've talked a lot, and I just want to give you my really honest impression about these 3 different devices. They also just have newer versions out there. I will just put every link down there about my tested devices I have here, and also the newer and latest versions that have ever so slightly improved, not the biggest improvements. The companies are probably just sticking to their lines and what they want to do with the devices. My personal pick would definitely be the Jabra. You can also just crank it down to the Jabra 510, I guess. This is just more the budget-friendly version from Jabra. But if you have the money and you just really want a professional device for a really long lifetime, just go for the Speak 710. This is just my personal pick. I hope you also enjoyed the B-roll of this whole video here from 2 years ago. So this is just really emotional for me. At the end of this video, I will just put a video of me from 2 years ago, just standing in front of the camera and not able to talk to the camera because I was just so afraid, and also just so afraid talking English in front of the camera. So this just felt very weird back then. So you just can see a guy not talking, trying to find his words. So I will just put this in at the end of this video. So if you dislike this video, you know what to do. But if you liked it, hit like down there, get subscribed, and enable the notifications with the bell icon so you won't miss any future video of the idea of technology. And I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.